right, what's up everybody? So today we're going to take a look at sound. I'm letting everybody know I got my saxophone sound production book. If you want to work on your saxophone sound and making sure that you are worth listening to, not just to your audience, but to yourself, that book is available. So these videos that I'm going to be doing now, I'm going to focus on the only thing that matters, your sound. That's what people want to hear. So we're going to focus in on certain attributes of the sound in this video, and specifically articulation. So Valor Sax defines articulation in three components. That is the attack, the sustain, and the decay. So it's like an airplane. You got the takeoff, the flight, and the landing. And I can promise you, if any one of those are off, you're going to have a real bad day. Okay, so I have three very influential tenor saxophonists, and we're going to take a look at their articulation. This is going to be Ben Webster, Stan Getz, and Kirk Whalum. But we're going to focus in on those three attributes. How do they attack? Do they tongue attack? Do they breath attack? What do they do when they sustain the note? Is it just straight? Is it vibrato? And what do they do on the decay on the end of those notes? Articulation is inseparable from tone. You have to start your tone with something, and you start it with an articulation. Okay, I have recordings of each one of these artists playing Over the Rainbow. So we're going to listen to how they approach 8 bars of that famous melodic line. Let's take a listen. All right, so let's talk about this in tenor key, because this will be more relevant to saxophone. Doesn't really matter what concert key it is. What matters is the timbre of how it sits in the saxophone when you are playing in the saxophone key. So Ben Webster is playing this in B, concert A. Stan Getz is playing it in A flat concert, which is B flat. And Kirk Whalum is playing it in G flat for some reason. No, usually when you find that guys are playing stuff in weird keys, it's generally because they're trying to target a certain section of the horn to get a particular type of sound. And it's a very warm, full kind of sound doing it in, tenor A flat. All right, so let's take a listen to some Ben Webster. Okay, not the greatest Ben Webster impression, but there are some key things that I want to focus on, which is how he attacks. That initial attack, I don't think he ever tongue attacked anything. And if he does, he's doing it so lightly, it all comes across as a very strong kind of breath subtone attack. His subtone is all through the entire horn. In fact, all three of these guys actually play this with a subtone throughout the entire range of the saxophone. There's a high type of in the sound. Subtone is often described as a type of foo-foo sound, where you have this onomatopoeic which emulates the hiss or the airy sound in the saxophone. So another onomatopoeic device I want to teach you guys is fwa, like F-W-A, with an emphasis on that F, fwa, fwa, where the wah has a marked increase in volume. There's like a crescendo with that fwa. We hear that a lot. Let's check this out. On that F sharp, there's like he plays it a little flat and vibratos it up. Okay, let's move on to Stan Getz. so with Stan Getz, we have this soft attack into no vibrato, and then there's vibrato on the decay. So if you want to emulate Stan Getz, if you want to start to incorporate these things into your playing, number one, always find the recording where somebody's playing the least amount of notes. Generally, it's going to be a ballad, but whoever you want to transcribe, find the recordings where they're playing the least amount of notes, because you can't hide with a whole bunch of notes. There's nowhere to hide. So all you have are all those devices that I actually talk about in the sound development book that matter to people. It matters to you when you listen to people. All right. So Stan Getz is doing something like a really open in the throat, soft attack, no vibrato, vibrato on the decay. All right, let's take a listen to Kirk Whalum. He plays that whole phrase with no vibrato, and then boom, puts the vibrato right on the end, man. And he does a lot of that wah. Whenever you hear that, man, that is the signature sound of Kirk Whalum. Especially around like these, the right hand keys, that F, middle D, E flat, those like really full, rich sounding notes. Really, really pay attention to that. He's doing a soft attack, soft breath attack, no vibrato, vibrato on the end. Ladies and gentlemen, I do have merchandise. You can pick this up on Amazon. This one isn't mine personally, but I'll put a link in the description under the Amazon section for this. I love this thing. It's just a really nice saxophone mug here. I want to show you guys this thing also. I picked up this light here, oscillating saxophone light. This thing is very cool. If you pick up one of these, you got to like hold the on button and then it'll go into oscillation mode. Otherwise, it'll just stay one color. Okay. So I've shortened the name of this to a vibrato cadence, but it is a type of 5-1 vibrato cadence. Harmonically, the 5 chord is the high point of tension that resolves to 1, but this type of vibrato cadence is generally a wide vibrato that resolves to either no vibrato or very little vibrato. Something like a you hear this all the time in music. So next time you want to transcribe someone in order to get their sound, don't get too bogged down with all the fancy notes and stuff that they're playing. We're generally starting with tone anyway, but we're making a very clear attachment of tone and articulation and how they all relate to each other. So next time you listen to your favorite saxophone ballad, be sure to key in on those things. Make sure you aren't just using the vibrato that you think they're doing, but see if in that sustain, if they're actually keeping it straight or if they go immediately into a vibrato. So, of course, I have my Altissimo books for alto and tenor and my All Things Diminished book. And obviously, I just released my saxophone sound development book. These are all available on PayHip as a digital purchase only. So if you like this kind of content and you want to support the channel, you can buy me a piece of cake. I will post a link in the description below. So buy me a coffee, but for me, it's a piece of cake. It's like a Kickstarter, Patreon type of thing if you want to support the channel. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for you. Thanks for tuning in. See ya!